Hello and welcome to the Mobile Accessible Games interview series. I'm your host, Aaron Spelker. Mobile Accessible Games is a group that's focused about all things about mobile accessible gaming, and through our interview series, we interview game developers, accessibility influencers, as well as accessibility advocates. And this week we have an individual. His name is the Tech Piano Player Kid. And I came across him because coming up in an interview that will be posted in the next couple of weeks, I will be interviewing the game developers of Timecrest. And in doing my research around Timecrest, I found the Tech Piano Player Kid, and he has quite a few videos about the game Timecrest. And so I got looking at all the other things that are covered on the YouTube channel and thought it was really interesting, and it would be interesting to the community. So I'm going to introduce the Tech Piano Player Kid. And, hello and welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
So the very first question I like to ask, any of the guests that we have is just for you to just say a little bit about yourself, a brief little bio so the community can get introduced to you.
Well, as he said, the Tech Piano Player Kid. That's not my real name. That'd be very interesting if it was.
You might have a problem with your parents on that one.
I'm completely blind, so no light perception. I play piano completely by ear for the most part, depending on how complex the song is. I've learned how to use a computer since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So I sometimes my dad kind of jokes around a little bit and says I know a bit more than him than I do. It's like, well, welcome to the blind research. Yeah. Like playing games, as long as they're family friend. Well, on the family friendly side, that's where I like to review them and if they're accessible or not. And there are some accessible ones, but the ones that are, let's just say, they have some colorful language. We'll just put it that way. That I don't review those because, they're not my type of game. But that's just who I am. But yeah.
So, like I said, I came across your YouTube channel, which covers a couple different things. So we'll have you tell us about everything that's kind of covered on that YouTube channel, because it's kind of an eclectic set of information. But particularly what I focused in is you had quite a few videos on Timecrest, and then I was kind of looking through, and you were covering things like Swarty Quest and A Hero's Call and RSS Games and Blindfold Games. So there was kind of different set of games that you cover. But what kind of made you put together a YouTube channel? Like what made you say, I'm going to, do videos and I'm going to play games and I'm going to do the other things that you do, which I'll have you tell the community what those things are. But, what made you put your effort into actually creating a YouTube channel?
Well, actually, that's a good question, because I guess just one day I was just thinking about it. It's like, I should create a YouTube channel. And I don't know if someone told me, mentioned it to me, that should make one. And I was like, that wouldn't hurt. And, obviously I went back through the years and double checked my videos, and I said, wow, I was horrible the first time. I mean, as a first YouTuber, they're not going to be the best. I mean, that's just, you learn from that. Sure. But my point was that I wanted to make stuff for the blind. So let's say, like an organization for the blind who teach blind, children, about technology or games out there, they don't want to hire someone, maybe because of the budget, but basically just teaching blind individuals out there and saying, hey, there are stuff out there for the blind that you can use, like iPhones and stuff, and Braille No Touch. Yeah, some of them may be on the crazy expensive side, but if it's something you really need, save up for it and use it. And, with apps and stuff, which will come in later on in this interview. But yeah, just reviewing different things, and I just like helping people.
Now, if I remember correctly and looking at it, I mean, you have, quite the following. I think it was like 112,000 people that are subscribers to your YouTube channel. What do you think is do people come for the games? Do people come for the tech reviews? Do people come for the piano playing?
And I think it's 1,000 something subscribers. I don't think I have 12,000. I'm not there yet. But
Yeah, maybe I just heard wrong. I thought it said, I thought it said great. So that's,
well, it says like 1.23K, and it doesn't.
Oh, maybe that's what it said. Yeah, maybe I thought it said 112. I thought it was 112K. Like, wow,
I
that's
wish it
impressive.
was.
Yeah, like, that's impressive. Um, well, still, same question though. I mean, what are people coming for? Are people coming for your piano playing? Are they coming for the games? Are they coming for the tech reviews? What are they coming for?
I think it's a mixture, because I can't say which one because I do get views on all of them,
Mhm.
but I just do a cover on most of them because as for piano stuff, I hate to say this, but a lot of the people who do piano stuff out there, they either A, have the stuff on there, the sheet music in front of you on camera and they're playing it, or B, is that the person says, okay, here's part one. If you want to see part two through part six, go to my website and you can subscribe for, let's say, for $25 per month. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay that just to learn that. There's no point.
I listened to your series on Bohemian Rhapsody, and
That's a hard piece.
yeah, and I don't know anything about like I mean I know what a piano is, but I don't know how to play piano, and I don't know what I know there's chords and they have letters and stuff like that. But what I thought was really interesting is you kind of like not just being like here's what you press, but you were kind of breaking down how it trills up and then it hits like an accent, chord or key,
Yeah.
and then comes back down, and you were kind of like explaining the construction of it along with like how you play it, which I thought was pretty interesting, even for a person who doesn't really know much about piano.
Yeah. And, people think it's not easy because, when you're playing it, you just know it like that. And then you're like, okay, now I have to break it down one by one, essentially. And like, how do I do this? It's not like you don't know how to do it. It's just like, I have to break this down, like for, picture someone like who's like that's kind of over the top here, but like, for someone who's in middle school, that's kind of how I look at it. And like, okay, someone who's new to this, or maybe someone who's just a beginner.
The so I lost my sight 4 years ago, so I had a long period of time where I was sighted, and they used to have, well, I'm sure they still have it, but they would have a piano teaching lesson where basically what it was it had like a little picture of a keyboard at the bottom, and it had these like cascading, um, I don't know, like bars that would come down, and so that it would tell you like when it hits the key, that's when you're supposed to press the key, and then you also could see what was coming up. It kind of teaches. So I really wasn't learning what the keys were, what keys I was just pressing. It was almost like a video game, just like mimic what's coming down and press
Yeah.
the right key when it hits the key, and so I could play some songs that way and memorize some songs that way, but I really had no idea the structure of it, and therefore could not like go beyond, really, that cascade, if you will. I never really learned what it meant of what it is I was playing and maybe how to apply that other places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's talk specifically about the games section of the YouTube channel. So as I said, I noticed, and there may be more, but I noticed you had Timecrest and you had Swordy Quest and Heroes Call and RSS Games and Blindfold Games. You had those are some of the ones that I remember off the top of my head. Which there could be even more, but that kind of covers not only mobile games, but there's some computer games on there as well. Um, which do you like? From a game standpoint, do you like playing games on mobile? Do you like playing them on a computer? You like playing them on something else that's not covered on your YouTube channel? What's your preference?
Um, really depends, I guess, but I guess mobile because like if you're in the car, you don't have to have like a computer in front of you, and it seems like a lot of these games you need internet to play them. Not all of them, but a few.
Hmm.
Like the server, like the RS games, you need internet, but
Right.
obviously when I'm in the car, like on a long ride or something like this with my parents or whatever, that just play stuff on my iPhone, like other games, like the Blindfold games, those you don't need internet for. But as of which one's my favorite, I don't really have one. I guess it just depends on what the game is and stuff. But I have noticed that the games on the computer have more sound effects than the ones on mobile.
Sure. I mean, I think I could be wrong, but I think Timecrest had the most videos that you've put out. So I
Yes.
mean, obviously stuck with that one for quite a bit. Is what is it about Timecrest that has kept you coming back?
Well, first of all, I
And
wanted to
and
do.
also and also maybe explain to people what Timecrest is, so people know what we're
Oh
talking
yeah. So I'm gonna try and say this without giving any spoiler alerts,
about.
although that probably will happen anyway. So again, spoiler alerts are possible in this.
Okay.
But Timecrest is essentially a game where you help this character. His or her name is Ash. We don't know if it's a he or she, but
Right.
you could kind of assume from the way they talk, it's I think it's a he, but again, that's just me. Didn't mean to rhyme there.
I agree with you. It seems like it's a he, although it is not clearly stated either way.
Exactly. So basically, you help this character to get more, essentially stronger, like learning more spells and stuff, and learn more about their world in their place, and you learn about your um, talents. And it seems that you, who's also playing and helping Ash, has the ability to reverse time and basically manipulate time. Now, that's all you see right now, but then as you go in more in the game, it gets more and more intense, where you're trying to figure out, why is Ash a Timecrest, and essentially just there's a lot of things there, like who caused this, who caused that, and it will jump a lot in different places. So from Timecrest 1 to Timecrest 2, first it's Timecrest 1 and 2 is all about Ash pretty much. And Timecrest 3, it goes back to another character who, spoiler alert, destroyed all of Valder, which I'm not going to go into the whole thing of what that is, because that would just take pretty much a whole video. Where you find out kind of why this person did that, and we find out that this person who destroyed all of Valder and who had their reasons is also the brother of the main character, Ash, which we find out that Ash isn't too happy about that, but as you slowly get into the game, Ash decides, maybe there is a reason why he had it. But I feel like Ash knows, like, there is a reason, but I think it's just in shock. I think shock is just the way to put it, that Ash isn't, and he can't, just having a hard time forgiving his name is Kronos. I'll just put it that way. That's just easier to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and going back to just really the very, very beginning of the concept of Timecrest is Ash is in some alternative world, let's just say. There's some crisis that is happening, and he has somehow managed to reach out across the cosmos to you and is asking for your help. So the whole thing is he's telling you, oh my gosh, this just happened, what do I do? And you're like, well, why don't you go talk to the person at the library? And then Ash will say, all right, I'm going off to do that. And then like 5 minutes later, you'll get a notification on your phone that says Ash has returned and is ready to talk to you. And then he'll say, oh, I went to the library and I talked to that person. Here's what they said. What should I do now? And then you give him, advice. So you're kind of advising him, and he's giving you the information of what's happening in his world. And as you said, you're trying to unravel this mystery of who's causing what, and why are these things happening, and who's involved. But it's all kind of a back and forth communication, kind of almost choose your own adventure type of game.
Yeah, and I also will advise that for those of you who have never played it, you need to go into your, I call it settings, and turn on the filtering option. I forget where it's at, and that will help you help you have less colorful language and use other words in place of it. But either way, I will have to give you a warning to you all. There are some very, very intense moments in that game.
I didn't even realize they had so they have kind of like a, radio edit version, if you will.
What's that?
They have kind of like a radio edit version where
in a way. I mean, the whole thing is almost, it's pretty much the same. It's just there's some words that in there that if it's used, that they'll replace some other words in there in its place that's not, that's not inappropriate words. It's more appropriate as bad, which I have that turned on because, I'm just that kind of person. And also, yeah, but either way, whether you have it turned on or off, there's some very intense moments in that game, scenes, I should say. And don't play that nighttime. It's scary.
That's actually when I do play it. When I'm laying in bed, that's when I go and play it. So so you have a couple of games that we've mentioned here that you do play that you've enjoyed that are accessible. Is there any games that are out there that you really want to play but they aren't accessible or not accessible enough, and that's
Yep.
frustrating to you?
Um, Animal Crossings and Minecraft. I would like just I want to learn. I don't know. It just I've always been intrigued by those because I've listened to a lot of, and I'll use the word watch here, and I'll get to the minute why I use that, but I'll listen slash watch to YouTube videos on these kinds of games, and obviously the people you can see, but I'm just like, well, why don't they make it accessible for blind people? And the game Minecraft is semi accessible, I have to say, but it could be better.
That seems like sounds like Minecraft when I was cited with my kids when they were young, and there was just we would go on creative mode where you just got all the supplies and we would just build epic castles and villages
Yeah.
and whatever we wanted to build. And I don't know. I feel like it would be challenging. Um, I don't know what accessibility features they have on Minecraft, but it seems like it would be really, really challenging to get it to come out the way you really want it to. Um,
Yeah. Or
and
Animal Crossings. I mean, you could do that. I don't know if that would be challenging too, but
I know I've heard of Animal Crossing, but I don't think I know well enough of exactly what the game is and what you do in Animal Crossing. So maybe explain people. I think everyone knows Minecraft, so we don't have to get into that. But in Animal Crossing, maybe explain a little bit what Animal Crossing is.
yeah, I'm not really familiar what it is either. Hate to say it, but just ask Google. Google or Lady A, aka Alexa,
Yeah,
or Siri. I'm not saying their name because
right.
I
Yeah,
have
they'll
these
start talking
devices in
to
my
you.
room.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I have a few of those. And again, for me, it's a lot of games that I used to play as a sighted person that being blind are just not really accessible anymore, and I just miss playing them. Big, huge open world RPG type of games. That's my jam, and those are really difficult at this stage to really play the way that they're intended. Um, so when you play games, the ones that are accessible or not accessible. I mean, where are you seeing things that developers could do better? Like, what is it on? You said Minecraft is sort of accessible, but it could be better. I mean, what is it that you're looking for to make a better accessible game?
um, like I mean, well, besides Minecraft, I mean, any game out there. I feel like some people like they when they hear accessible, they don't think the same way as blind people do. They think accessible like okay, enough that they can play it. We need to have it accessible to the point where we can play it independently, no problems, but yet have other people who decided can turn it on, can use it without having to turn the accessibility on. So, it'll have something, if you have voiceover turned on, it would detect in the app saying, okay, if you have vision, if you, for visually impaired people, do a 3-finger triple tap or something like that with, 3 fingers on the iPhone. But I feel like a lot of developers could learn about this by, I don't know if there's any training out there for those who can learn it. I'm not an app developer, so I can't really say, but I feel like they could just learn from maybe like doing some training out there, something like this. Maybe like, I don't know if APH or American Printing House for the Blind or National Federation of the Blind would help with anything with that, but something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The developers that I've talked to who have games that are really strong in their accessibility are ones who told me like, oh, I learned about voiceover and I turned it on and I blindfolded myself and I just kept doing it until I could play the game, and
Yeah.
they figured it out. So they really went through that effort of putting themselves, walking in the shoes of a blind person to see if they could get through the game. Um, there's kind of an ongoing debate that pops up every once in a while on my Facebook group where people talk about accessible games, where some people will be like, there is a button on the third page and it's not labeled. This is not accessible, and then there's other people who, as you said, like, you barely can play the game, and they're like, it's accessible, I can play it, but it's like, yeah, with a lot of like guessing what you're doing, or
Yeah,
you know, playing it so long that you finally figure out that this is what it does, after 30 minutes of struggling with it. So, to me, accessibility is somewhere in between those two things. Like, I don't deem something as not accessible if it has a flaw in it, because every game, whether you're doing it even for sighted people and it's totally visual, has flaws. There's just, it's
absolutely.
hard to create something that is absolutely perfect. But if the flaws are relatively minor and non-game breaking and can be explained and intuitively figured out, to me, that's an accessible game. If it's, really you have to jump through all sorts of hoops to remotely figure out what is happening, maybe that is not really, shouldn't be deemed as accessible. But I find people all across that spectrum, one little thing's wrong, this is unacceptable, it's not accessible, do better, developer. And I think that's just been a little too tough on developers, because there's no set of games that fit that criteria either.
Yeah.
So when you come across these games, such like Swordcrest, Timecrest, I mean, how are you finding? Are you just hearing them through the grapevine, through friends? Are you searching, various groups that you keep an eye on to look for games that are accessible? How are you coming across the games that you're playing and then covering over your YouTube channel?
I usually just either hear them from friends or just doing research. I'll go and throw it in here. Audiogames.net is one that you can go to now and find lots of games here. Now, a lot of them you can't download anymore because the developer hasn't made it compatible with the newest version of iOS or Mac OS or Windows. And but you could hear from your friends and say, hey, or just ask your friends. I asked my friends, like, hey, have you heard of any more accessible games out there? Here's what I have. And then, I tell them, like, I'm not gonna tell all the blindfold accessible games. I tell them I have blindfold games. I have, Timecrest, so and so. And then I ask them if they have any more suggestions. That's really what I do. Or I just do research, and sometimes YouTube will be listening in, quote unquote, and a random video would come up and say, oh, here's an game of this. I'm like, oh, let me look at that. And
yeah, they are definitely spying on us, our phones, and
yeah,
YouTube. Um, well, if you're not part of our group, the Mobile Accessible Games group, I highly recommend that you join that, because we have over 140 accessible games that have been listed and have a long form review that you can read up about the game and what's involved in it. Maybe since you know the game well, look at my Timecrest review or my SwordyQuest review, because then you've played those games, so you can see how those stack up to your thoughts about the game. But the Mobile Accessible Games group is great for a list of games to play. The new one comes out every week. Plus, you have people in the group who are constantly talking about games and asking questions and asking for help and getting answers and stuff like that. So it's a nice community of people out there on the Mobile Accessible Games Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the kind of focus of the YouTube channel right now? Is it, Timecrest? Is that, continuing since we're, that's still kind of going? Is that what you're working on? Is it kind of drop doing games and I'm focusing on my piano work? Or what is, if I were to go to your channel, what's the next video I could expect to see?
So right now the Timecrest is all done since I've covered the whole game pretty much. I need to re-upload one because one of my videos decided to stop right in the middle of it. So I'm gonna have to just tell what happened after that part. So that's luckily I have at least I have that video still saved. Just have to cut out the silent part and just tell what happened. But in regards of what's happening, most likely just like tech stuff for now. Until the next version of Timecrest comes out. Who knows that will happen 10 years later. But
Well, hopefully I'll find
sorry,
out when
I
hopefully I'll
had a
find out when I
computer.
interview them next week.
Yeah, and I've asked them, and they said, we're not sure yet, but we're continuing to work on things every day. So who knows what will happen.
So, if people want to, see all these things that we're talking about, these piano videos and these tech videos and your game videos that you've done already and may do in the future, how can people find you on all the social media platforms?
Um, Easiest way, I'll just say here, you can go to my website, thetechpianoplayerkid.com, and you'll see like my channel link name, Facebook, Twitter. I need to throw my Discord in there as well. I can edit that later. But you can do that. You can also there request, audio or request video content, join a discussion group there. You can do all kinds of things on there. You can also, buy my Braille bracelets right now. It's there as well. But as soon as my other things come in, I'll add that to the, what do you call it? The shop, not the shopping list, the store thing.
Store, yeah, the store. Well, yeah. Speaking of that, so I did see that you have some Braille bracelets. It seems like you might have some other swag as well available to people. You want to tell people what they can get in your store.
Yeah. So as I said, the Braille bracelets. Try saying that 5 times. They're silicone. They're only one size, unfortunately. Which that's kind of what it is because it's really hard to determine your wrist size these days.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I will be getting some T-shirts here in the next couple
what are
of
the
weeks.
Braille bracelets like? Can I request
yeah.
whatever they say, or do they say something specific?
They just have my channel name, the Tech Piano Player Kit in print, and then in Braille they have the acronym TTPPK because we all know how Braille takes up twice as much as room as print. But yeah, that I don't remember what color they are, but I think they have it. I have a alt text for the images in there as well, so it should be there.
Do you make those yourself, or someone else make those?
No, I had someone do that for me. The machines for those things, I think it's like the Braille thing to get that embossed. One of those embossers for Braille is like $15,000, and I'm like, I don't have that money.
Sure.
And then the T-shirts, they're not Braille, but on the back it will have my channel name, the Tech Piano Player Kid, and then in front it will have "Don't let your disability stop you on what you want to accomplish in life."
Okay.
Because I just thought of that because I feel like there's some people out there who always have a reason that's like, oh well, my disability stops you from doing this. Don't let that stop you. There may be another way of doing it, but you can still accomplish it. It's like obviously you can't drive a car right now, but for people who are blind, but
that doesn't mean you can't leave the house. Yeah,
exactly.
And for your content, whether it be, I guess, website or YouTube channel, do you have a set schedule, like things post every Sunday or Wednesday, or is it just kind of as you're feeling inspired, you put things up?
Yeah, I try to do something maybe like once or every other week. What day of the week, that kind of changes because, again, still doing school stuff from home online, and also, trying to get that school stuff done first, and then I'll do my YouTube stuff. But
how long have you had the YouTube channel?
I think I started uploading in 2015, but I've had it since 2013, but I didn't start uploading until 2015. So let's say 2015, just to make it easier.
And do you know how many videos that you've created over that 8-year time period?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. Maybe is it 300 or 400? No, I think it's less than that. I think it's 300 or 400. I have to look, but it's in the hundreds.
So lots of back content that people can check out and look over.
Yeah.
When you are playing the games, like when you are doing Timecrest or you're doing Sporty Quest, is it, like, how do you do it? Is it just straight up playing and you're just kind of describing what you're doing, or you engaging a community and asking them what they want to do and then you go and do it? Like, how do you
kind of a mixture. I was gonna think of taking different paths and stuff, but that would take forever. And I thought about, well, like a lot of people have probably done one path as well, so maybe I could do one path, they could do the other path, and kind of compare and think, okay, well, if you take this path, this happens. But the tech pamphlet kid took this path, and this is what this happens. I was thinking of doing different paths, but okay, occasionally in the comments, like, in the comments, every single time, I would say something like, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, what do you think may happen in the next Timecrest or in chapter 3 or something like that?
Have you gotten to know any other, accessible content creators?
I'm trying to think here. Oh, what's their name? Can't think of their name right now. I know who it is. I've talked to them. I just can't think of their name.
What do they do? Are they doing games or are they doing something else?
They usually do games.
Yeah, I've gotten a chance.
I think it's. They used to go by Timecrestians, or Timecrestians is how VoiceOver says it.
Okay.
But
so,
I have to.
So that's probably how you got to know them, because they were covering Timecrest stuff.
Yeah, and then they and she and I talked a couple few minutes and discussed about, like, on a Zoom meeting actually, and discussed. I think I actually uploaded a video on Timecrest actually with her in a video a couple. I think it was like a month or two ago. Discussing, like, what could happen in Timecrest 4, and obviously I mentioned there would be a lot of spoiler alerts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, there's some other ones out there, but they cover more games, I think, that are more for more mature content, put it that way. Which I don't watch those, but yeah.
When you're doing, I was going to say, when you're doing Timecrest, talk about that. So I've played a good portion of Timecrest. I have not finished all three, but there's a lot going on, and I don't know if some of it is that I haven't, like, I'll play it for a little while, then I'll, like, put it down for a little while I'll do something else, like a couple weeks, and then I come back to it, and then I'm kind of like, what is going on? There's so much happening. I kind of forget what has happened. And did you find it as kind of like there's just like a lot of
yes.
stuff going on there, or were you able to keep it straight pretty easily?
I definitely thought there was a lot of things going on, because I'm like, whoa! I was like, wait a minute, we were just here, and now we're here. What happened?
So I'm not the only one. Yeah, I thought, because it was sometimes where other games come up that I have to review, and then I'll put it down for like a month, and I come back and, like, I have no idea what was happening. There's a guy Ash, I remember that. Like,
yeah. I mean, I did too, but, like, what happens with me is, like, I'll play it, and then let's say you have to wait 24 hours, which I really didn't like, but I guess it's kind of a thing that I want you to kind of experience, maybe, because maybe something happened and you have to wait until they wake up or something. But then, like, you wait 24 hours, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm back at home now. And you're like, wait a minute, you were here and now you're back at home. What just happened?
Yeah, I will say this. So I'm not a big person where, like, an application says, we'd like to send you notifications. Will you let us do that? I always say no. But for Timecrest, you want to say yes, because
yes, you do.
Particularly when it's the long ones where it's like, this is going to be 3 hours or something like that, or 4 hours. Like, for me, it was very easy to, like, put notifications back on, to be like, I kind of forgot I was playing Timecrest. Now, like, a week's gone by, and be like, oh shoot, yeah, I should check in and see what's happening there. So the notifications are good to just kind of prompt and remind you that now it's ready to play. So one of the few applications that I actually do have notifications turned on, and find it actually to be useful and valuable to me.
Yeah, there's actually another game I just came across, actually. Speaking of accessible games, it's called what is it called? Widget Pet.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically you decide what kind of pet you want to have, and it is actually quite accessible. Now, obviously it's maybe not put in a way like that you're probably expected, but once you learn how to do it, you're like, oh, okay, then it's pretty easy. Actually, that's probably another game I could review on my channel. Now that I think about it.
Giving you ideas. Awesome. All right. Well, I think people are going to look forward to Widget Pet when you put that out there. And like we were saying, there's hundreds of hours of videos to check out on the Tech Piano Player Kids YouTube channel. And also some really interesting things. If you want to get really a breakdown of the structure of how to play a piece, definitely check out the Bohemian Rhapsody one. I thought that one was fascinating. So, and there's some other songs as well out there. And again, we really, I'm glad that you came out, told us, what you're up to, what you've been working on, what games that you like, and how you're finding out about games. And if you ever want to promote some of the other future games, accessible games that you're covering, feel free to reach back out to us or join the Facebook group and post about it there. I think the community is always looking for content around accessible games.
Okay, and how can I find your Facebook group?
Yeah, so if you're on Facebook, if you just type in mobile accessible games, you should find it. So it's pretty simple. In this, people who are watching this YouTube video, the YouTube channel has the link to the Facebook group as well.
Okay, yeah, because because I'll probably join you as my Facebook, not my personal Facebook, but my YouTube Facebook. That's a word.
Your page, your Facebook page.
Yeah, my page for my YouTube channel. There we go.
There you go. All right, excellent. Well, thank you. Thanks for talking to us and telling us all you're doing. And we hope to see you on the Facebook group and sharing the content that you're creating.
All right, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.